Welcome back to America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys Formula and America's Medicare Associates. 419-794-3030 is the phone number. 794-3030. Online, americasretirementheadquarters.com. If you missed the last segment or previous editions of the show, always via pretty much whatever medium you want. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. They're on Facebook, previous editions as well. Just make sure you search for America's Retirement Headquarters. America's Retirement Headquarters, of course, a veteran-owned business. And guys, as a veteran-owned business, I know you do a lot to serve those that served us. And today's segment of Committed to the 419, you actually have a special guest who does the same thing. Jason Graven from Task Force 20 joining you. So, thanks for being here with us.
Yeah, good to have you here, Jason. I appreciate you coming on board. And I think, for those of you who've listened to the show for quite some time, maybe know a little bit of my background. And, I'd love to hear a little bit of your background too, Jason. But for those of you, maybe if it's a first time listening in, America's Retirement Headquarters, we are a veteran-owned business, and we love supporting our veterans. We love supporting those people who served. So being that it's 4th of July, I couldn't think of a better guest than having Task Force 20 come on and talk about some of the great things that they're doing. I grew up in Bryan, Ohio, so about an hour west of here. My wife and I live in Waterville, so it's almost like growing up in Bryan. And a buddy of mine, Pete Padrone, and I, 2 days after high school, I tell people Pete and I jumped on a bus and we went down to Paris Island because it sounded like a nice summer tropical vacation after high school. So it was good times. I served in the Marine Wing Support Group. I was in the reserves, stationed predominantly up here at Suffrage Air National Guard Base, just a little bit north of us. And I think about it, if you think about what I learned as an 18-year-old, I would say I was a typical 18-year-old. I thought people owed me something. And actually, by going in the military, it really taught me that I owe others, and it's really about service to other. And it really taught me, I think, a lot of the principles that we have in our practice today as far as staying disciplined. When it comes to investing, it's easy to be emotional. And as you know, emotions in battle can get you in big trouble and get other people hurt. And those same emotions, when it comes to investing, can cause trouble for you too. So, Jason, again, it's good to have you here. I thought maybe we'd start with a little bit. Just tell us your background.
Okay, well, thank you for having me on. It's an honor to be here. I grew up in the Monclova area, so not too far from Waterville. Graduated high school from Anthony Wayne in '98, and it's been a couple of years being a pretty typical young adult. Like you said, at 18, you don't know what you don't know, but you think you know everything. So I made a couple of years of pretty standard mistakes, and then 9/11 happened, and I don't claim that 9/11 was kind of like the driving force to my enlistment, but it was kind of a situation where it was a wake-up call. Like, I realized that there was more out there in life than just selling sandwiches. And 2 weeks later, I was in an Army recruiter's office and signing paperwork, and fully expected to go to Afghanistan, and ended up in Iraq instead. So part of the initial invasion into Iraq, and did that for a year, and it wasn't nearly as much fun as the recruiter told me it would be. And was out of the military about 9 months after getting back from Iraq, and then I went to University of Toledo, got both my bachelor's degree and my master's degree from UT, and after that I went to work for the state headquarters of the American Legion down in Columbus, where I did that for a few years and wanted to have more of a direct effect, or a direct impact, I should say, on my generation of veteran, and started Task Force 20.
So you talk about 9/11 as maybe one of the motivations of going in. So I was in from '94 to '98. I was in between kind of the two Gulf Wars there, and it was a month before 9/11. My brother joined the Air Force. So my brother, he's 2 years older than I, and he went to college at the Ohio State University. That's where he got his dentist license. My brother became a dentist like Dad did. It was a month before 9/11 that he got stationed at the Pentagon. He was working as a dentist in the Joint Chief of Staff Department, and obviously we all know what happened with 9/11. So the Pentagon got struck that day. My brother, the hero that I consider him to be, ran back in, actually was treating people with some of his medical background that he had, put people in his personal vehicle and helped transport him and get him to the hospital. Got a Commandant's Medal for that. My brother, he had a lot of trauma, I think, from what happened there. I'm sure, like anybody who's gone to war and seen battles and seen bad things happen, it's something that's challenging. And if we look at it, there's so many great men and women that have served our country, that have gone through things that the reality, if we flash forward to today, it's still a lot of bad stuff's happening, not only in battles, but the fact is bad things are happening in the fact that 22 veterans a day are committing suicide. My wife and I, we were recently invited last month out to Washington, D.C., and I got an opportunity with 40 other people to meet with Mike Pence.
Okay.
So while we were in Washington, we took time to go to all the different monuments that are out there, and we stopped by the Vietnam Veteran Wall, which is super impressive. And, as we were walking through, there was a photo book that was laying down there with a hat on it. And so I had bent down and I take a look at it, and it was actually left in memory, and it said, this individual, although he's not on the wall, served in Vietnam and committed suicide after this event. We still see that happening today, and that's why I've tried to make it, one of my passions with what I care about, to try to go out and save people. If we flash forward years later, unfortunately, I lost my brother to suicide. He committed suicide, after 9/11, and I think if we can do something to help people out, there's so many great things that we can do. Why I think Task Force 20 is such an important organization. So, what do you guys do? Like, what is the mission? And how are you helping our veterans?
Yeah, so we fund physical fitness programs for veterans. And, our most common requested benefit would be like gym memberships. Our goal is to get veterans off the couch and re-engaged into society. And I think you probably went through a similar transition stage where you feel like you're by yourself and you feel like you're alone. And that isolation can lead to, trying to suppress some of your thoughts through drugs and alcohol. So our goal is to get veterans off the couch, re-engaged into society around a healthy and active lifestyle. You find those like-minded people. So a couple of percentages that I like to use, or statistics, if you will. Back in World War II, 14% of all adult males served during World War II. It then dropped to about 7% in Vietnam. Well, in today's society, less than half of 1% of the population has served in either Iraq or Afghanistan. So it's a kind of a double-edged sword. There's less of us out there, and less opportunities to meet each other. And with our mantra as an organization is train, compete, survive together. So everything that we do is all about bringing the veteran community together, whether it be veterans and veterans, or organizations to organizations. We want to help veterans find each other, because as we continue, I think a recent statistic said that 70% of teenagers right now are not physically able to pass physical fitness standards to even join the military. So in the near future, it's just going to get worse. There's going to be less people that are going to actually serve, so you're going to see more of that isolation. So if we can create opportunities for veterans to meet each other, that's what we're about.
Yeah, I mean, it's a band of brothers. You definitely learn that, band of sisters, of getting together, whether it's breaking bread or working out at the gym, just doing stuff together and being able to kind of, fit back in. I think, something else that I see in a lot of the organizations is you go and, every single day you're basically told what to do.
Yep.
Here's when to get up, here's when to work out, here's when to go to the bathroom, here's when to go to bed. And then, once you get done with active duty, you get brought back here, and if you're back in the States, it's like, good, thanks for serving, good luck. And you kind of lose a little bit of your blueprint, your sense of purpose, because you don't have somebody giving you direction all the time. And I can see where it would make you feel more isolated if you don't have that sense of purpose of what to do. Um, with working with the veterans that you do, what are the type of things that you do to try to help steer them in the right direction?
Yeah, so we, trying to think of the right way to, kind of word it. So we have recently started, group training sessions. So we have several facilities that we work with. So Ordinary Pioneer in White House, Ohio, we have a yoga session that is dedicated to veterans. It's 100% free for the veterans to participate. Task Force 20 takes care of the funding of that. So they can come out and see if yoga is going to be their jam. Pillar Fitness in Rossford, we have a monthly CrossFit style workout. And the best thing about these is you don't have to be members of their facilities. You can go and meet some of the other veterans in the area that are also passionate or engaged in those fitness realms, if you will, and meet some of the others.
I also think you talked a little bit about the American Legion. I think American Legion's also doing some really good things, and hopefully trying to reinvent the wheel to get more younger people like us in our age group to be more actively involved in what the American Legion's doing. Again, another great way to bring people together. But it is kind of surprising when you think about the statistics that you're sharing about what percentage of people served in the world wars versus what percentage are serving today, and it's it's quite a bit lower.
Yeah, I had a conversation this past weekend with a Vietnam era veteran, and we were talking about how much things have kind of shifted. So like during Vietnam, it's one statistic is only 30% of those who served in Vietnam were actually drafted. The vast majority self-enlisted, but when they came home, society didn't welcome them back. Now with our generation, everybody who serves is a hero, and we're all celebrated, but we can't get anybody to actually enlist. So it's kind of a weird dichotomy or weird change just in the last 50 years.
Yeah. I have my two boys, and so my oldest is at Bowling Green State University, and for both of my boys, if they wanted to serve in the military, I think it'd be great. I'd be honored if they served. It was a couple of years ago. My kids were little. I finally had an opportunity where we got to go down to Parris Island and go tour Parris Island. And of course, you had to go up to the famous yellow footprints, and I took my kids there, and we were walking around, and there was a group of recruits, and this drill instructor was just laying into these recruits. And we get back in the car to go to the next place on Parris Island, and my kids' eyeballs are just bulging out, and they're like, "Dad, we're not joining the military." And then you flash forward to today. Here locally we have the 180th Air Wing. Fantastic organization, and so what a lot of people don't realize is people who serve, in like the 180th Air National Guard, if you do that, they'll pay for your full college for 6 years, or for 4 years for 6 years of reserve service. Now, in addition to that, my oldest son, he was in the Boy Scouts of America, so he's an Eagle Scout, so he gets automatic rank up for that. He did the College Credit Plus course. He's also a graduate from Anthony Wayne, so he gets a rank up for that. So he could go in and, as a young guy, get college paid for, and also get some pretty good income for serving in the reserves. In his situation, he's kind of still exploring that. He might go into officer. He still has the opportunity to go in. In his situation, he lacks faith in our current leadership, which, we could have a whole show on that topic as well. But there is a lot of uncertainty, I think, with our leadership, with Ukraine, with Russia, with things that are happening and that are out there. And the other thing that we see is, with different generations, at least it's been my experience, I think our younger generation, if you think Iraq, Afghanistan, we're more open, and I think society has become more open about mental health awareness.
Right.
I'm not saying by any means it's perfect, which is why we got to keep doing what we're doing to tell people there's resources and we're here to help. But if you go back in your example of the Vietnam era, a lot of those people, they were forced, unfortunately, to bottle up that stuff and keep that inside of themselves, and that's just obviously not good, which leads to all of those other problems as far as sitting on the couch, drug or alcohol abuse, or even down to homelessness, and those are things that can be changed. So if somebody is listening to the show, or somebody sees this and they learn about Task Force 20, how do they get involved, or how do they qualify for these type of benefits?
Yeah, so they go to our website, tf20.org, and we have a page that is apply for benefits, and they go on, they put in their information, and can actually, there's a checkbox for what kind of benefits they wish to receive. They name their facility that they want to go to, and that's an important aspect behind what we do. There are similar organizations out there, but those organizations tend to work more with the facilities. And we do have contracted partnership with some facilities, but when we enter those contracts, those facilities know that we don't specifically push those facilities on veterans, because each individual is going to have a different set of needs. So we allow the veteran to choose the facility that they go into. So we've had veterans who are single mothers. They need a gym with daycare, right? One of our bigger success stories, if you will, was a Navy veteran who was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy, and the VA awarded her 12 aquatherapy sessions in a year. Right? We were able to partner this veteran with a YMCA with a pool, so they could take and learn the lessons through the VA that they were supposed to be learning, and then utilize them every single day if they wanted. So we allow the veteran to choose the facility that they want to go to that best fits their needs.
Yeah, I was recently, our gym closed down. We were at the gym there in Fallen Timbers, which we recently closed, and we had stopped up front to revitalize, which here in Arrowhead Park, and I saw the Task Force 20 on the wall. I know they, along with the YMCA, Pillar Fitness, Ordinary Pioneer is the yoga. There's a lot of different things. So again, for people that are interested to find out about applying for benefits, it's tf20.org, and you can see right on the top there, apply for benefits. Of course, you can learn more about different things that are going on. I know also at the same time, there's a lot of people that are listening that just love veterans, love what organizations like yours are doing that are out there. Maybe let's talk a little bit about some of the events and different events that are going on. What are the type of events that you guys have? I think, looking at the website, I know that you just recently wrapped up a 5K.
Yep. In recognition, if you will, of PTSD Awareness Day, which is June 27th every single year, the Sunday closest to that day, we have our annual 5K and Gavin A. Smith Veteran Resource Fair. The Resource Fair is intended to bring in other veteran-centric nonprofits in Northwest Ohio and Southeast Michigan to allow attendees, and it's 100% free to visit, by the way. They don't have to register for the run to visit the Resource Fair, but it's intended to be like a one-stop shop. So veterans can come in, learn what all these other organizations are doing, because our organization isn't naive enough, to think that, everybody wants to lift heavy things and put it back down. But we consider it doing a disservice to the veteran if they were to reach out to us just to try and find something, see if we know what is available out there. And if we're not working with the other nonprofits or other organizations and companies, we can't refer them to what might work best for them. So we designed the Resource Fair to be that one-stop shop where they can come in and they can talk to us. They can talk to other veteran-centric nonprofits in the region. And if we're not what's best for them, maybe one of the others are. And our mission is just to help vets, whether it's with us or with one of our partners.
Yeah, absolutely, and I agree. There's a lot of great organizations. I mean, I do a lot with Hooves, and we also were at a gun raffle over in Liberty Center in the fall for another organization that take veterans out hunting and do great things for them too. So again, lots of great resources that are available to help people out, and it is good to see that, in 2022. And here more recently, there's been more services to help people out to, again, kind of try to figure out, how to partner up and team up with people that have similar experiences to what they had, and also to kind of help shape them in the right direction and kind of help focus on where they go. I also know that you have another event that's coming up, which is your second annual Veterans Award Banquet. It's coming up, I think, September 8th. Maybe tell us a little bit about that upcoming event.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird how that kind of came together. We were looking for another type of event to where we could, bring our partners together and everything. And in our research, we had learned that other municipalities like Cleveland, Cincinnati, I think Columbus, they have veteran award recognition type things. So we couldn't find anything here in Toledo. So we kind of said, well, why don't we do it? And so the awards banquet, we give out 3 awards: Civilian of the Year, Veteran of the Year, and Veteran Organization of the Year. And it's intended to recognize these other individuals. So similar to what I just said with our resource fair, we want to recognize these other organizations and individuals by giving them a trophy. Plus, the individuals get $500 to use towards their mission. The organization, we give them $1,000 to use towards their mission. And all you have to do is go to our website. Again, there's a nomination page, and nominations are open right now. Put these individuals in that are doing these amazing things in the veteran community, and let us recognize and help fund what their missions are.
I think that's incredible. And if you would, you have, again, Veteran of the Year, a Civilian of the Year, and you also have Veteran Organization of the Year. Who were some of the people in the past that maybe jumped out at you that you could share a story about?
Yeah, so our Veteran of the Year last year was a 180th individual, enlistee, and she was going to college full time. She was activated for 9 months out of a year. She was president of the BGSU Student Veterans of America organization, and still found time to graduate in the meantime, and with a very high GPA. I think FERPA prevents me from saying what it is, but it couldn't be beat, put it that way. So we felt that the time, energy, and effort into not only the activations that she was on, but also giving back and to her organization that is designed to help veterans on campus really stood out to us. So we felt that recognition was quite justified. The Civilian of the Year, Jamie Tusco, she is very involved with the 180th and sending care packages while they're on deployment and a number of other things. And last year we chose Little Blessings up in Temperance as the Veteran Organization of the Year, based off what they do. They do some equine therapy similar to Who's, I believe. There are some differences in the programming, but it's still an equine therapy-based program. And, we just felt like those individuals in that organization really stood out against the others that are nominated. So again, you do have to go on and nominate. We don't just randomly pick an organization or an individual. It's whether or not people in the community love what they do so much, they're going to go in and want them recognized as well.
Yeah, sounds like a great event. Again, you can get all the details. All you have to do is go to their website. It's tf20.org. That's the events and programs. Of course, we talked about earlier on the top tab, you can apply for benefits. Always reach out to our office. I'd be more than happy to share their information to put you in contact with them too. I know as a company for a lot of years, some of the things that we've done is what's called Adopt a Platoon. It's been a little bit since we did that, but I think over the years, I think a little over 1,500 pounds of goods have been shipped out for people that are serving active duty overseas. One of my son's best friends, who he became an Eagle Scout with, is actually now active duty in the United States Marine Corps. So he went out in the Marine Corps and is doing some good stuff. And
that's hoorah, right?
Hoorah! Yep. So his parents are going to surprise him with a vehicle this weekend. So they're
awesome.
actually driving down to the Carolinas, and they're going to take a new vehicle. He doesn't have a vehicle, and all those buddies gets to go around. But now they're going to surprise him this weekend. So I guess since it's a pre-recorded show airing this weekend, I can let the cat out of the bag that he's getting a vehicle. But it's good to do some stuff. So again, I think, if you've listened to the show, if you love our veterans like we do, whether you're a veteran and want to get involved, or whether you're not a veteran but just love our veterans, do something. Again, this is Northwest Ohio. Volunteer, be involved. I'm sure at those events there's volunteer opportunities to help run a booth, run check-in, help set up, tear down, all different types of things to do. And if you're a veteran, you're listening to the show, sitting on the couch, this is your wake-up call. Get off the couch. There's something that you can do and get out there. We'd love to help you, write your blueprint into what the future holds for you and be able to do something different. Um, I know we're coming up closer to the end of the show here. For listeners, any final thoughts that you want to share with everybody?
Yeah, I'd like to, kind of expound onto, the founding of the organization if I can. So, I was kind of the stereotypical grumpy vet, very recluse, stayed to myself, isolated. And then when I got the job at the American Legion, I moved to Columbus. I didn't know anybody, and I wasn't outgoing, and it was my first office type job. So I would go and I would sit in front of the computer all day, and then I would go home and I would sit in front of the TV all day. And that became, well, I'll just have a drink with dinner, and then it became 2 and 3 drinks with dinner. And I'm not a big guy. I'm only like 5'4", on a good day probably. And I got up to about 220 pounds. I wasn't healthy, and it wasn't muscle. That much I can promise you. And I just forced myself to go up to the gym. I looked in the mirror one day and I said, this is not the life that I want to live. And I walked up there, didn't give myself a chance to talk myself out of it. I signed up that day, and within 6 months, my confidence went up because I started to see the changes in myself. I made friends in the gym, and it completely changed everything. And this is when the 22 per day was a hot topic, and it was everywhere. So I began looking in and doing some research, and there were already studies being done about how the physical fitness, it has a direct correlation to mental health. So I kind of looked at it and said, with my background in nonprofits, my education, if I'm not going to do it, who is? And I've got a really great support team with the executive board, but we've been there, and everybody on the executive team has used physical fitness in some way for help during their own transitions.
And what year was that you started Task Force 20?
2016.
2016.
So we've been around about 5.5 years. We'll turn 6 in November.
And do you have any stats? Like, how many people then do you think have gone through and been impacted by the program?
In the 5 years, we've helped about 130, 135
Yeah.
veterans.
That's
during that
amazing.
time. So,
I'm glad you got off the couch and you did something. And again, I think for those people who are listening, maybe you've thought about doing something. We're giving you a mission with Independence Day here to get off the couch and do something. Get up, like you did. Go to the gym. Quit doing like I do sometimes and make the excuses. I had to find a new gym since my gym closed down. Hopefully, I'll find one to get back in because I would agree. Working out is something that you have to do. And at the end of the day, we all have the same 24 hours a day, and it's a matter of how you choose to spend those hours.
Absolutely.
And what you get out of it. And as we all know, life's short. So taking that step to have good, not only mental health but physical health is a good way to continue on moving in the right direction.
Absolutely.
So again, as we wrap up the show here, I want to give out the websites one more time, tf20.org. That's how you find out more about Task Force 20, AmericasRetirementHeadquarters.com. That's how you get in touch with the team at America's Retirement Headquarters. We want to thank you. I said it at the beginning of the show, and I want to echo it because I truly do mean it. Thank you for spending part of your day with us here on America's Retirement Headquarters. Whatever you're getting into this 4th of July weekend, whether it's staying here in town, whether it's traveling, be safe out there. Take care of one another. And as we wrap up, guys, I want to leave you with the final word.
I just want to say again, Jason, thanks for coming out. Task Force 20, we appreciate you, appreciate what you do. And final quote for the week, America is another name for opportunity. So have a great weekend. Have a safe 4th of July, everybody. We look forward to seeing you same time, same channel right here on 1370 WSPD.